In Northern Virginia today, a line of cars that stretched nearly a mile, made of federal workers stretched thin by the government shutdown.
The funds that I do have are pretty much depleted by this point.
It's the third day the Capital Area Food Bank has specifically served federal employees.
This one's dry goods.
This time at two different locations. Unpaid workers and contractors waiting in line said they've had to make cutbacks, like Valley Bennett, a single mother who works for the Department of Homeland Security.
I have a kid in college, a senior in high school. A senior in high school, you know, it's a lot of celebration, a lot of things that you want to do since it's your last year in high school, and we have to slow down all the activities.
More than 1 million federal employees today missed their first full paychecks since the shutdown began. That includes Zeleny Johnson, a mother of 3 who works for the U.S. Navy.
It feels terrible. Yeah. It feels really bad. It's definitely not a good feeling to not get one today, but then to also know that you don't know when the next one is coming.
Were feeling or anticipating pain in their pocketbooks before today. Lines formed earlier this week at the Capital Area Food Bank's first distribution in Prince George's, Maryland, and its 300 boxes of goods ran out with people still waiting.
We are likely going to run out of food before you get to the front of the line. So this is our pantry network. Additional places to access food will be back next week. I'm so sorry.
My friends, this is not a normal government shutdown. My friends, this is not a normal government shutdown. My friends, this is not a normal government shutdown.
If the government wanted civil unrest, this is exactly how they do it. Take people's food. Take it right before the holidays, the one time families gather around a table and remember what it feels like to be a fucking human. You do that and you have lit the match. Because when you mess with people's ability to feed their children, their parents, themselves, you're no longer governing anymore. You're provoking desperation. And we all know how that good old saying goes, desperate people do desperate things. It's not even rebellion at this point, it's survival. You can send billions overseas, fund your wars, protect billionaire tax breaks, but the second you start cutting food from the people who keep this country running, the ones working 2 and 3 jobs, stretching paychecks, praying that they can afford groceries, don't be surprised when the system that you broke cracks. You don't get to call it chaos. Call it what it is, consequence. You wanted unrest. This is how you build it, policy by policy, cut by cut, indifference by indifference. And when you see someone borrowing food, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You saw someone trying to live in a system that forgot them. You saw a mom feeding her children, a veteran feeding himself, a neighbor surviving. Empathy shouldn't be a radical act. But here we are. This is the America that we live in. And to the administration doing this, you push people past survival and they'll show you what survival looks like.
Hey, y'all. Listen, I just got off the phone with a friend. And she was very concerned because, you know, and she has a right to be concerned, and a lot more people too. But this is the reality of what we're living in today. So her son's daycare vouchers were cut, along with a lot of other people. And so right now, she's having to cover the 30%. Not to mention the daycare informed her they didn't know how long they were going to be open, because without the vouchers, they can't pay people. And so, you know, I really feel bad for a lot of, you know, the parents and the workers and everything. This is why it's important for us to have multiple streams of income, because having just one is too close to none. What do you do? What do you do if you wake up, you go to your job where you've been for years, and they tell you that, you know, you're no longer needed? What do you do? What do you do? How do you pay the daycare? What do you do?
Okay, so it went into effect
my dad, who is 66 years old. He did not receive his SNAP benefits today. And he only has 1 pack of bologna and a bag of hot dogs and some bread. So I have to go and take him to get him some food. But it is really sad how individuals are on here and really happy about people losing their SNAP benefits. It is a lot of families that really are in the jam. I will say that for those that are fortunate and you have family that's going through that, please help the best you can. Just help whatever you can afford.
So you guys really hate people on food stamps and Section 8 so fucking much. Why don't you guys go after the corporations? Like Walmart and like Giant Eagle and like all these other places that are, offering like $15 an hour when rent is $1,500 a month. Why do you want people to have kids when we can't afford them? There's not many high-paying jobs out there. Like I work for a union and I make $35 an hour at my take-home, before taxes. That's after dues and everything else. And like most of the people that I fucking work with, their wives are working. Like they can't afford homes. Like, and it's not like we're all drug addicted or fucking alcoholics or addicted to video games or anything. It's like we don't take vacations. We're all driving old beaten up fucking trucks and shit. If you hate all these people on fucking welfare benefits and shit, why aren't you getting mad at the management firms that are charging this much money for rent? Why aren't you getting mad at the utility companies for charging outrageous fucking prices? Like, if you don't want people on benefits taking your tax dollars, as you fucking say, why aren't you getting mad at the people that are making life so fucking expensive? Not to mention, Walmart and shit that says, oh yeah, we're only going to give you a part-time job with like 23 to 25 hours a week, but you have to have constant open availability because if you pick up a second job and we need you to fill someone's shift, you're going to get fired. Like, why aren't you people getting mad at the right motherfuckers?
Right now, we're staring down the barrel at 2 crises at once. A healthcare crisis and a hunger crisis, and both are caused by one man, Donald Trump. We're now 3 days from open enrollment. Today, the window shopping begins. People are going to see drastic increases in their healthcare costs. People are going to sit at the dinner table Friday night with a hole in the pit of their stomach and saying, how are we going to do this? We can't afford another $4,000 or $5,000 a year, $10,000, even $20,000 in some cases for health care. How are we going to do without health care, but how are we going to pay for health care? And now, for the first time in history, a president, Donald Trump, is refusing to fund SNAP during a shutdown. 42 million Americans. Hungry children, middle-class families someone's lost the job, veterans, senior citizens who struggle to pay for their food. All of these people will lose their SNAP benefits, not because the money's gone, not because it's not permitted, because Donald Trump ordered it stopped.
How long is this sustainable?
Wow. It's not. It won't be from the first day. For every meal that a food bank provides, the SNAP program provides 9. There's no way we can meet that gap. There's no way we can replace every single one of those meals. It is not sustainable for food banks to fill this gap. We were not built to do this. We will stand out there and we will do our very best.
So just a quick update. I'm already crying. We've gotten rid of 3 bags so far, and people are like, can I really take one?
It's what it's all about. This is what it's all about.
Okay, here's the setup. ¿Necesita una bolsa de comida? Quick update, we've given away like 8 grocery bags. We have 11 grocery totes left. We have 6 grocery totes left. We have 5 grocery totes left. Every last bit of groceries are gone. In fact, we had a giant IKEA bag full of odds and ends that didn't make it into the 30 totes because we ran out of room and they were just packed to the brim. There was maybe like 100 items extra, all gone. We just set them up on the table and people were taking boxes of stuffing, mac and cheese, Jell-O. Incredibly heartwarming. And next year, I hope we do double. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you.
Please bear with me, because this is a message. It is a long message, but a message I feel like needs to get out there to as many people that are willing to hear it. So here it is. I am not okay. I am not okay with what's happening in this country. I am not okay with families working themselves to exhaustion and still coming home to empty refrigerators. I am also not okay with children that go to bed hungry while we have politicians that stand behind podiums on world stages and will debate it as policy and budget reform. I am not okay with this world thinking that this is about politics. It's not about politics. It's about humanity. And the cold, hard fact is humanity is losing right now. See, when a mother must choose whether or not she has to pay rent or groceries, something's broken. When a senior citizen must choose whether or not he's going to buy his blood pressure medicine or a loaf of bread, something is very wrong with that picture. When we have a parent working 2 jobs and they can't even fill a grocery cart, we have failed as a nation. I am not okay. Food is not a privilege. It is a basic human right. No one deserves to go hungry. We can have a lot of political people that will continue to argue policy while we have people that starve in our own backyards. You can quote statistics all you want to, while we have families all over our nation that are praying over empty plates on their table.
Donald Trump is starving 42 million Americans. Donald Trump is starving 42 million Americans. He has just admitted on Truth Social that despite the 2 federal judges ordering him, despite the billions in contingency funds set aside for this exact purpose, he will not be releasing SNAP benefits until the radical left reopens the government. He has just admitted that it is indeed him withholding SNAP benefits. Now, everyone who has a brain, who knows that this is being used as a weapon, everyone saying that it's the Democrats' fault and call your Democratic representatives, no matter which side you're on, there are billions in contingency, and he has been ordered twice by federal judges to release the funds, and he has just admitted that he will not be doing so. This piece of fucking human garbage is starving 42 million Americans for political gain. We will starve you until you let the Republicans take away your health care.
Hey, so I work for the welfare office in my local county. I'm in Pennsylvania, and we received an email this afternoon, that SNAP benefits, food stamp benefits, if the federal government is still shut down, will not be released in November, and that any applications after the 15th, which were 2 days ago, will not be issued. So It is true. I know we're seeing a lot of different stuff online, articles, but it is true. I've been officially notified as an employee with the state at the welfare office. So if the federal government does not come up and running as of November, food stamps will not be issued. We do not rely on the world systems, church, to provide for us. God will provide for you. He will sustain you because he is your provider before everything. So I wanted to release this to make sure everybody is informed so the churches can prepare and for the people to be prepared. But it is happening, and may it be a time of unity amongst brothers and sisters in Christ and for the church to step into its rightful place.
To be crystal clear, what this bill did was create the potential for SNAP programs to no longer exist in any shape, form, or fashion in terms of providing SNAP benefits in states that could not afford to or chose not to, for whatever reason, meet the cost sharing. Is that a fair assessment of that, Ms. Green?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bivens?
Yes, it is.
Ms. Schmidt?
Yes, sir.
I almost just want to sit in silence to let that sink in. The United States of America just signed into law a bill that will allow states, essentially, to determine whether or not they will provide food assistance to anyone. Anyone.
Did you really believe they were going to pay SNAP benefits after he turns around and threatened businesses that were willing to help people that carried EBT cards? It's never going to happen. The cruelty is the point. Enough said.
What the hell kind of society we live in? People use a $1,400 phone to check their food stamp balance.
It's time to speak up. I have been a follower of Jesus my entire life. Like, really, before I could remember anything else, I can remember loving Jesus and wanting to know him more. And I have spent my whole life trying to seek that, trying to walk in a way that how I lived matched who I said I was. And who I said I was a follower of Jesus. And that is why I am heartbroken right now from what I see all over the country. Because people, fellow Christians, you know the number one reason people are turning away from the church and from Jesus right now? The number one reason? The hypocrisy they see among those who call ourselves Christians. You see, because when we say one thing, but we do something else, and that something else that we do causes people harm or takes their rights away or causes them to be hungry or not have health care, the very things that Jesus told us to look out for. When we support those things and say, oh, but I'm a Christian, the world sees right through that. And so does Jesus, by the way. The world sees right through that. So you can either support policies that harm people, or you can really follow Jesus, but the two are mutually exclusive. They really, really are. And because people still say, oh, I'm a Christian, but I'm going to support these things that harm my neighbor. No, the world sees right through us. And so does Jesus, by the way. They both see right through us. Because you can either love your neighbor like Jesus told us to, or you can support some of the things that are going on in our political world right now. But the two are mutually exclusive, and it's time to choose.
I don't know, guys. This doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right to me. And if we don't unite together, we're cooked. We're cooked. Okay? That's all there is to it. Cooked. So we got to come together. And that's why I'm trying to run these polls, but it's not getting any traction because it's getting blocked. And I'm trying, I want to start the People First movement. And pretty much what it's going to be is it's going to take America to fund one PAC, the People First PAC. And the way that that's going to work is we will promote American first.
So fucking sick of this life. Every day you get up, you go to work, but what the fuck for? What are we getting up for? You get up, you go to work, you get paid, you pay your bills, you're fucking broke. Every fucking week. When's it gonna change? Is this just the way it is now? Just live our lives fucking broke? No money to save? No vacation? Just barely pay your bills. Nothing left. And you wonder why people have so many problems with their mental health. Because they're just not fucking happy. It affects all aspects of your life. You go to work, you're fucking thinking about it. Drive home, you're thinking about it. With your family, you're thinking about it. You try to sleep, you're thinking about it. You don't get a fucking break. And that's what the people in the government don't understand. The people are fucking tired. We're sick and tired of the bullshit. People need fucking help, and they know it ain't fucking coming. And that's the reality of the whole situation. We're all just fucked.
This is to the United States government and healthcare. Just would like to say that, where the hell is the reset button? Because we need a full factory frickin' reset. I don't know how people are expected to survive. I don't understand how anyone in America, you have insurance so that you can pay for your bills, right? And then your bills are still thousands of dollars, and then you lose insurance, and then your bills are still thousands of dollars, but yet it's even worse somehow, but you still owe more money. It's like, what even? Can somebody explain anything about why anything works here? Because it doesn't make any friggin' sense to me.
Hi. This is weird for me. I don't really post on here, but I'm really lonely, and I thought that maybe talking to strangers on the internet about my life and just kind of having like a little vent session would help. Life has been kicking my butt lately. And I don't really know who to talk to or what to do. And I see other people talk on TikTok. So I thought maybe I would do the same. Life sucks. This is a low point. Yeah. As of right now, I have probably $10 to my name. Technically don't have anywhere to really live. I don't have a car. I do have a job, so there's a bright side. My relationship of 3 years has basically gone to the dumpster, which that sucks. And it was my fault.
As much praise as they give us, I need to see more people fucking take this seriously. It's not a fucking joke. We don't need to discuss what fucking outfits we're wearing, okay? Or what kind of neat little sayings we can do at protests. If you think this is going to get solved through protesting and calling, I need you to dig deeper. I need you to look into the things that scare you. It's a must-do situation now. I am not the only one that needs you to do this. There are millions of people that need you to get on the same page.
I was curious about some of the time limits on housing assistance. This is, housing that's already built that impacts millions of Americans. You spoke a little bit that some of the concern there was fraud, but I was wondering if there's, any worry about, you could be pushing out families who are dependent on these HUD programs that, this is really the only avenue they have to get housing.
You're talking about the proposed time limits?
Yeah, that's right.
And what is your question?
Just if there's any concern about whether you're going to be pushing out families that need that.
No, there's no concern at all. Government subsidies were never meant to be a lifestyle. Have you ever met somebody that live in government housing? Personally?
I
have.
I've asked.
I met hundreds of people around our country. Government subsidies were never meant to be a hammock. They're meant to be a trampoline. We're always going to have people in our nation that need help. And we understand that from the heart of HUD. We understand that we'll have these people. I met a young lady in a certain city in our country that's been living in a certain housing project, which was deplorable. She's 52 years old. She's been living there since 1953. She's 52 years old. She's been living there since 1973. She's able-bodied, able-minded. She was raised there. She lived there. Now she's raising her children there. There's 3 generations living in government subsidies that are able-bodied, able-minded. That's not the way that our government and our country is supposed to be.
President Trump has a list that he's going to release on Friday, October 17th, 2025. And no, it's not the Epstein list. Now, this list is going to consist of Democratic programs. Now, these are the programs that he plans on shutting down. Now, some of the Democratic programs are free and reduced school lunch, Pell Grants, Head Start, Section 8, WIC, Energy Assistance, which is LAHEAP, after-school programs, Upward Bound, teacher diversity programs, child care assistance, food stamps, summer EBT. This even includes public transit. We don't realize how much these programs help those that are in need, whether it be low income, whether it be in areas where they are less fortunate. We don't realize how much these programs help these people to continue to help our economy flourish. But President Trump will be dropping this list on October 17th, 2025 on which programs he's planning on shutting down. Go ahead and spread this around, let people know what's coming.
I just seen 3 separate videos of women in Memphis thanking Donald Trump for the work he's doing here by sending the National Guards here, saying shit like, oh my God, the neighborhood is so safe now. My kids are able to play outside. I haven't heard a gunshot in weeks. Thank you, Donald Trump, for sending the National Guard here and for protecting our city. You really are making America great again. You a dumb bitch, because it sounds like you live in a neighborhood that's not so good. In that same neighborhood that you congratulating him on your kids being allowed to play outside in, he's about to push your black ass out of it. He's about to go and gentrify the whole area. Why do you think he's trying to get rid of criminals, of black people, of bad seeds, so he can get the lower class people out of the lower class neighborhoods that they pushed our asses into. You get what I'm saying? To take it from us and build higher class neighborhoods and make this city into a tourist city. It's all a money scheme, and y'all dumbasses are not upset about this shit. Let's just be real, bro. Memphis is an impoverished city. Most of our citizens are a part of the lower class. You bitch, that mean your grandma, your auntie, your cousin that's poor, that's on EBT, that's getting Social Security, she finna get pushed out of her house. She finna get pushed out of her house. She finna get pushed out of her house.
The thing about the No Kings protest is that it may have been breaking numbers, but from Sunday school to public school, most Americans are not encouraged to think for themselves. They will fight to their death even if they're wrong. And sometimes that wrong could be based on something that was passed on to them by a parent or grandparent or favorite uncle or aunt or a big cousin. And they will embrace that. And so one of the things that people have been taught, there's strength in numbers. And that's not an absolute truth, but it is some truth to it. But it can't be applicable in every situation. Okay, you look at the civil rights movement. There were thousands upon thousands of people that marched to Washington in the 60s. And they were in protest of that current day administration. And so when you listen to people today, they still have a bone to pick, a problem with a similar administration. Perhaps not extreme, as people would say today as opposed to back then. But people still feel that there are injustices. People feel like they're being overworked, underpaid. People feel like life is being squeezed out of them. And so if you find yourself in the streets doing the same thing that they did in the 60s, then in essence, the lesson of today is there's not strength in numbers because the condition always exists, continue to exist. And so what your gripe back then, there's still a gripe today. And it is unfortunately caused by a small group of people. Some people call it the establishment, the elite, the powers that be. Whatever descriptive category you place that small group of people in, it's a group of people that seems to still have the upper hand. And so that in itself establishes there's not always strength in numbers. I mean, you could even see that on slave plantations. And a lot of American people now feel like slaves, modern day slaves. They'll tell you that. On plantations that Mr. Henry and Miss Sarah, who probably had 3 children, they occupied the big house, approximately 5 family members. And every now and then it may have been an ailing mother in there. Maybe Mr. Henry's mom or maybe Sarah's mom and a dog. Approximately 5 family members. While in the slave quarters, as many as 20 slaves. Some slave owners may have had 35, 40 slaves. But at night, Mr. Henry, his wife, and 3 children, and the elder mother, they sleep peacefully in the big house, although they are outnumbered by the slaves in the slave quarters. They sleep peacefully, guards totally down. Once you break a people, and that's what the American people, some are still in a shock, but it's different groups being like shocked. Imagine if you approached your car early in the morning, going to work, and somebody jumped from the rear of your car. You'd be taken off guard. You may even freeze up out of fear. You may shout. You may run. Very few would charge because you caught off guard. That's what's happening right now. A lot of American people, they're in a state of shock. And today, November the 1st, there are women starting a dialogue and network and reach out to one another. Like, did you get your stamps? No. Did you get your? No. And so it's been confirmed. And see, that's their shock. Now, Roe v. Wade case, a lot of people didn't participate in that protest because they call it not a dog in that fight. They would not have been impacted by that decision, they feel. A lot of truck drivers started walking away from that industry. There were certain people that weren't in the streets doing Black Lives Matter. As far as they're concerned, it wasn't their issue. The sons and father that were being gunned down didn't resemble their fathers and sons. So they have no issue with that. Healthcare. People have been in the streets protesting regarding healthcare. A lot of people didn't participate in it. And so in America, there's such a divide that is not caused by Trump. Perhaps he deepened that divide, but it already existed. And so now you got groups experiencing their moment of shock. And a lot of EBT recipients, they're going through it right now. I crossed paths with a few. I can hear the dialogue in public places. You can see it in their face. I've been saying it's going to be a cold winter. An unpredictable winter in some cases. Some things you can damn near predict. But it's going to be a cold winter. And so my point is, for all these different groups who feel that they are being pressed by a system, no matter how successful the No Kings protest was, they did not succeed because people had to eventually go back and work for the very system that they hold accountable and accuse of being mistreated by. The American people, this is a Simon Says society. Immediate mainstream media tells them something, depending on which media outlet they are in tune with, they do it. If a political figure is loud enough or popular enough and they make a statement or a suggestion, the people move based on that. Celebrities, the fashion trends, what automobile you should drive, music. Many people are influenced by celebrities. And so this is a Simon Says society where someone outside of you who is more influential, perhaps a bit more powerful, can set a standard. And people run to fulfill that, to meet that standard. And when you respond to that, when you are a person who haven't thought for yourself for so many years and you've lived in bubbles, most people can't differentiate false from what's truth. Now, right now, they're saying the algorithm. I don't believe in that. And the reason being, if you can be suppressed, if you upload a video, something that's thought provocative, if that video can be suppressed to prevent other people from viewing it, then there are other videos that can be pushed in front of you so that you will view it. So this algorithm thing, all this shit is. But when you don't know the difference between truth and what's false, when you can't differentiate, do we have a possibility to win or are we just defeated? Most Americans can't wrap their minds around that because they are still intoxicated on let freedom ring. So most people, Americans, they can't fathom that it is over. Miss America as you knew her has passed. It's a new day, a new sunlit day. It's not about perpetuating the blood, but perpetuating the order. And the order is going for. It is some dark times. And a lot of people, you hear them talk about the digital ID. They push back against that. They'll conform. For those that live to see it, they'll conform. And that's the reality that it's not absolute that there's strength in numbers. Because as I've said before, you don't see members of Congress, the Senate, in the streets. You don't see the women with dresses on and New Balances. You don't see the men with New Balances on with alligator shirts with picket signs. They are winning. But when you live in a society where you haven't been responsible for analyzing and critical thinking, you don't want to see that. And you don't have to see it. The writing is on the wall. Yeah, the writing is on the wall.
America is so fed up, and let me show you how I know. So these are big American flags that every single person on our street puts at the end of their driveway. It's 3 per house, and we had to literally sign a contract when we bought this house that we would participate in this. And you have to put them out the Thursday before the holiday. It is Saturday before Labor Day, and we do this for Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, and then some people do it for Veterans Day, but you're not committed to doing that. So it's the Saturday before Labor Day. There is not one house on this entire street. There is not one house on this entire street that has their flags up. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. I haven't even thought to put our flags up because we're not the land of the free. We're not the land of the brave. We've lost all of our rights, or currently losing all of our rights if we haven't lost them yet. So this isn't by accident. It's not by accident.
Well, unfortunately, guys, Project 2026 is here. If you think this is just another political memo, you didn't learn anything from Project 2025. After reviewing the document this morning, it is very obvious that 2025 was the demolition plan. 2026 is the restructure on how they want to reimagine our country. After reviewing it, I'm just going to give you a couple concerning points of what this entails. First things first, let's talk about the education portion, because quite frankly, several of the points lead back to education. This is going to be a big major area of target for Project 2026. They want to expand school vouchers. They want to take away federal protections for kids with disabilities and discrimination policies. They want safeguards gone so you are on your own, and they want private schools to take over so that the less fortunate has nowhere to go and has no resources.
I'm a blue-collar worker. I was a plumber for 30 years. I got hurt, can't work anymore. I burned through my entire life savings, try to fix myself. I'm not getting fixed. I paid my taxes into a system that I depend on. Because of my injury, I've had a sedentary lifestyle, and now I have heart problems because of it. Yeah, I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying. But I depend on food stamps to live. And now I'm not going to get them. And the $1,200 a month that I get from disability goes to my rent and bills and my medical bills. I can't buy food.
So we received the email today at work informing us that Aetna and United Healthcare won't be renewing their Medicaid contract starting January the 1st, 2026. So if you have those two providers, you may need to go in and choose who you would like your Medicaid to be transferred over to, and also to choose which policy would be best for you. So my advice to you is to go in now and make the changes, because if you don't, they're going to choose the provider for you, and it may not be the provider that you want, or that provider may not offer the services that you get now with United or Aetna. So go in, look at the best choice for you, and let them know if you have to switch, which provider you would want to go to. Because those two are not going to renew their Medicaid contract. And that's for Louisiana. Louisiana Medicaid with Aetna and United Healthcare will not be renewing their Medicaid contract starting January 1st, 2026. But I did hear, I don't know how true it is, that Aetna is trying to come up with some kind of deal to be able to keep the contract. But as far as now, that's what's happening. So go in and get your business straight.
Every child conceived deserves to be born to a married mother and father. Far-right conservative think tank the Heritage Foundation has just dropped Project 2026, which is a follow-up to Project 2025, seeing as how about 80% of Project 2025 was accomplished in just the first year of Trump's term. Jeddah researcher just sent this to me, so it's going to take us a while to go through it all, but here are some of the highlights. Note the language being used. The Heritage Foundation and Heritage Action are fighting to restore self-governance. The Heritage Foundation's goal is to destabilize and dismantle the current constitutional government we have and replace it with Christian nationalism. They have done this in a myriad of ways, but the most popular one is talking about things like states' rights and the right to self-governance. They are seeking to homogenize the voting experience, whether that is at the state or federal level, by having a national voting policy, as opposed to allowing the states to run their own elections as the Constitution calls for. Note that they specifically wish to end the practice and rising popularity of ranked choice voting, and are going to work to try and get legislation passed that will require you to present a special ID proving that you are a U.S. citizen in order to vote. Number one priority is countering the CCP. Now, they just want to be able to use the word communist, but you can expect them to continue to attack TikTok, one of the most democratized places for people to raise their voice. And you can expect them to start a whole new type of Red Scare, where anybody who disagrees with the Heritage Foundation or conservative Christian nationalist principles can be labeled a foreign agent who is obviously working with the CCP to try and destroy American values. But the one that should scare you the most is the Heritage Foundation's language saying every child conceived deserves to be born to a married mother and father. This language not only confirms the Heritage Foundation's attempt to create a full and complete abortion ban, but also the language about being born to a married mother and father should concern every single or gay parent. Abortion tears at the soul of our country and saps its strength and moral authority. Radical ideologies that deny social and biological truths about sexual embodiment, marriage, and unborn life poison our courts, culture, and laws. Heritage Foundation will advance policies at the state and federal level to restore the, quote, nuclear family to the center of American life and to reduce both the demand and supply for abortion at all stages of human development.
You understand what we're on a collision course for, right? Right? When people cannot feed themselves, when people cannot feed their children, when that hunger and malnourishment develops into desperation and is met with an ICE agent who has a slave catcher motherfucking mentality, this modern day Gestapo, who thinks they can push people around and do whatever the fuck they want because they've been anointed by the king of white supremacy despite being orange. It's going to get bloody. It's going to get brutal. That's what I think. I'm not trying to doom speak, but if you put those two together, the malicious negligence of the government coupled with the wanton, brazen cruelty of this government, motherfuckers are going to die in the street.
Y'all seen this? I need somebody else's eyes on this to let me know if I'm fucking crazy or not. Because Ketanji Brown Jackson, in her dissent, just said everything that we have been assuming. We have been talking about them not having the SNAP benefits anymore. The contingency fund is gone. And she said the quiet part out loud. Somebody else look at this for me. This is Ketanji Brown Jackson's dissent from the court case that the Supreme Court just heard about funding SNAP. She said the applicants assert that without intervention from this court, they will have to transfer an estimated $4 billion by tonight to fund SNAP benefits through November. Where the fuck is the contingency fund? They shouldn't have to transfer anything. You can see her name right down here at the bottom. What the fuck do they have to transfer? That money should be there. That's what it's for. I don't care how you feel about SNAP. I truly don't. Our government is stealing from us. Those are our tax dollars that are now lining their pockets. None of that money should have been touched. That money should be there to access in the event that the emergency ever happened and it was needed immediately. Like, listen, you could feel however you want about SNAP. This is illegal. Our government is stealing from us. I'm going to be willing to bet that that bailout on Argentina was not actually a bailout. It was some form of laundering for some type of crypto. Somebody needs to follow some bank accounts and some crypto shit. I don't even know how all that shit works.
I've been doing a lot of reading about the Heritage Foundation, and I am learning so much about these fuckers. So the Heritage Foundation was formed in 1973 by 3 white men. Wayrick Fulner, that fucker that just died, rest in piss, by the way, and Coors, who was the grandson of the great Coors Beer Company. And hey, as a side note, Coors definitely supports the Heritage Foundation, so fuck that company and don't drink that beer. Anyway, those assholes started that in 1973 to basically just promote white agenda and white male supremacy. Now, of course, they weren't going to come out and say that. They had to use fancy words like, you know, promoting business and promoting the economy and the betterment of the United States of America, and using conservative thinking to shrink government and increase corporate power. Which, of course, is just a fancy way of saying they wanted to push the agendas of white wealthy men and make everybody else insignificant. But one of the things that they didn't foresee is that they were going to be really fucking good at it, and it was going to end up fucking destroying them. Okay, so they found themselves as a small think tank and then get funding from like private donors. And then a couple years later, some other assholes said, hey, why don't we take these concepts and why don't we put them into a fucking book? That way we can distribute this information and get other people on board with our vision. So then we had 3 new assholes that entered the chat. Eckerd, he was the head of Eckerd Drugs, which was like a CVS back then. I'm sure you guys have all seen that or you remember seeing Eckerd Drugs. He was the guy. So he was a businessman, a white businessman who was very successful in buying up stores and, you know, building out his Eckerd Drug brand. The other guy was Krebel, and he was the head of the Loctite Corporation. And you see this like if you go to Home Depot or Ace Hardware, you see Loctite everywhere. They sell like glue and adhesives and stuff. And then the third guy was this guy Heatherly, who was an advocate for small businesses. Interestingly enough, he ran the Small Business Association under Reagan. You know, the SBA that they're trying to completely cut and gut and get rid of. Because why support small businesses when you can support big corporations? But I digress, because in the late 70s, early 80s, they were all about promoting businesses owned by white men. So then the first person to get their hands on the copy of the first copy or first edition of the Mandate for Leadership was Ronald Reagan. Even though they presented it to Carter, Carter was like not impressed with it whatsoever. I don't even think that he looked at it. And Reagan said, hey, this makes sense to me. If you give more money to corporations and bigger tax cuts to corporations, then corporations can grow and that will increase the job market and that money will eventually make itself down to the people or the workers.
Dude, fuck this world, fuck working, fuck trying to make money, fuck technology, fuck the billionaires, fuck Trump, fuck Biden, fuck red, fuck blue. Literally, fuck you if you don't want to follow me. Fuck making money on TikTok. Fuck my following. Fuck trying anymore. Fuck food. There's no real food anyway, so fuck that. Fuck everything. Like I don't give a fuck about any fucking thing anymore because I was literally programmed to just stop fucking caring. So my fucks to give is 0. And I just like, why should I? Give me one reason why I should have purpose or why I should give a fuck about anything.
To the girl that's calling the churches to see if they'll help her feed her hungry baby, she's just going around and she's calling different churches and she's acting like she has a hungry baby and there's a baby crying in the background, but just calling to see which churches would help. Almost all of them said no. There was an Islamic church that said yes. There was a sweet Appalachian old man that was just trying to write everything down. That one made me cry. Just trying to write everything down so he could get it right. Like, baby, what do you need? All the Christian denominational churches were like, no, we don't do that. We do this instead. Listen, I've been scammed before. I've had somebody that said that they were starving and they were hungry and they were cold, and I just gave them money. I didn't know. And come to find out, then they tried to hack my bank account. But one thing I'm not going to be guilty of is ever standing before the Lord and saying that I was presented with an opportunity to possibly help somebody that was hungry, and I said no.
Bro, they're fucking killing us. They are. And you're letting it happen. For some reason, when I'm in the airport, I don't watch people. And when I was in the airport in Denver last week, I watched people. I watched men specifically, right? Because I don't give a fuck about the girls. I watched men, and I watched how they walked around. I watched their posture. I watched their style. I watched how they carried themselves. I watched how polite they were to people, right? I watched to what they were looking at, what they were aware of around them. And bro, it's not good. It is not fucking good. The average fucking dude right now, it's like not even a high bar to challenge, right? Like, put on some fucking clothes that fit, be aware of your surroundings, have some fucking posture. Basics. Fucking basics.
The U.S. just sold out 24 million of its own citizens. Last night, the House of Representatives announced that they will not vote to extend the ACA credits. This leaves 24 million people to fight for themselves. So what does this mean? This means that overnight, the U.S. government decided that the health of these people doesn't matter. Babies will go to be born to families without insurance. Cancer patients will go without treatments. Diabetics will go without insulin. I'm not on here to say I think that this is inhumane, because I don't know that it needs to be said at this point. Let's look at what's happened in 2025 alone. Groceries and home prices and rent prices are just too expensive. We have cities without clean running water, and now our health is being threatened. So at what point can we finally say that living in the United States is detrimental to our well-being? Is it now? Is it 6 months ago? I guess we're truly free now, after we've been abandoned and left to figure it out for ourselves.
What scares me is that people underestimate the severity of a grid down situation. That is shit hitting the fan. People are going to panic. They're first going to be watchful and start talking to their neighbors if they've heard of anything. But I mean a serious grid down. No cell phone, no TV, no radio. Short wave radio, yes, have one of those. And emergency radio stations, yes, have something to get those with. We have both. And society, as we know it, will come to a halt. This is no walk in the park. This is going off the cliff, and many people will not have parachutes. They'll splat. How long? It's going to be at least 90 days. That's why I say have prep supplies for 90 days minimum for each person in your family.
Tommy Tuberville out of Alabama just came out publicly and said that Europe is lost to the Muslims. They're going to have to fight in the streets to gain their freedom. And he said within 5 to 10 years, we're going to be having that same problem here in America. I don't think it's going to be 5 years. I think it's going to be sooner, because we have been invaded by the Muslims, and they want nothing more than to take over this country. So we're going to either fight now or we're going to fight later.
You motherfuckers voted for a nigga that's appealing a federal judge that's commanding this motherfucker to pay the other part of SNAP benefits, and you all voted for a motherfucker who say, fuck that, y'all can't eat. Meditate on that shit for a minute, man.
Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on here because most of you may not know I'm also a housing commissioner out in New Jersey, and today during our board meeting, I just wanted to kind of let it sink in. I think the rest of our board members, we were just really worried about our residents. But our attorney informed us today that because of the government shutdown and all the shenanigans, we only have funding guaranteed for December for our residents that receive their housing choice vouchers. That's also known as Section 8. Let that sink in. Okay? All these people who are able to obtain housing due to Section 8 have no guarantee that they will get their rent paid in January of 2026, only December of 2025. And who knows, with the shutdown, if we do go back, if the government does go back into session, and if we do mitigate this shutdown, who knows whether that funding for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, whether that's actually going to be enacted for January of 2026. I am just so curious. Also, as a side note, I just wanted everyone to know too that with the passage of the quote big beautiful bill, HUD is going to be experiencing a 43% budgetary cut. That's right, 43%.
I come to y'all because a lot of the times people don't know what's going on politically around me. Therefore, I can't have intellectual conversations with people and they give a damn. Or know who Peter Thiel is. Or know who J.D. Vance is. Or know of Gavin Newsom. They don't know what the fuck is going on, nor do they give a fuck. I just had like a low-key, high-key argument with my spouse. Without putting him on the spot, I just think it's ignorant to sit and think that none of this shit that's happening across states will not affect your black ass. Oh, it pisses me off when I hear black people say, I don't listen to politics. It's too much fear mongering. I don't keep up with this and that because, my kids need to eat today, or I have stuff and bills that I got to pay for today. Black Americans need to be getting their passports and thinking of an exit plan. As folks around her that are in higher positions in law enforcement has advised her to, one, to stop speaking against this administration on these public platforms, or two, get you an exit plan, because although it don't feel bad right now, a lot of shit feels normal.
The Attorney General of Kansas is asking the courts not to give SNAP benefits to the residents of Kansas. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. If you live in Kansas, if you have seen the farmers in Kansas bemoaning the fact that they may lose their farms, or if you're just interested in how these SNAP benefits are going to be distributed, you need to understand what the Attorney General of Kansas has just done that's going to hurt, potentially, the citizens and residents of Kansas. So the governor of Kansas is a Democrat. She joined the lawsuit to force the government to provide SNAP benefits in November to the citizens of her state. The Attorney General of Kansas filed an amicus brief today within Massachusetts telling the court that the governor, Laura Kelly, does not have the right to file a lawsuit asking for SNAP benefits for the citizens of Kansas.
Now that y'all food stamps really didn't hit, it's given. What would you do if your son's at home crying alone in the bedroom blood because he's hungry? It's really giving that, not gonna lie. But on a brighter note, since y'all claim I'm a single mom with 3 baby daddies, I know the struggle, okay? Feeding 3 kids a week costs between $300 to $600 a week to feed 3 kids. So I see why y'all was crying. I definitely do. But I also feel like y'all had to call y'all baby daddies to go ahead and work the situation out. One of them. I'm sure if you call one of your baby daddies, they'll be willing to make something work with you. I feel like food stamps, Section 8, and all these little government programs, and the husband, the welfare is my husband type of people, you know what I mean? I feel like now is y'all chance to make y'all families work. I've been saying it. I've been saying make it work with y'all families, because y'all was taking it too serious. There needs to be limits on this stuff. Y'all just can't be sitting up here. You've been on Section 8 since you was 18, you 45 years old. Girl, give somebody else a chance. You know what I mean? It's like y'all didn't go to school, y'all didn't do nothing, you know what I mean, but be on welfare. And again, y'all took it too far. Y'all became too dependent. You know, like my friend said, they said, if you feed them, they say, don't feed the wild animals here, because then they get dependent and they don't want to hunt. You know what I mean? They don't want to hunt no more because people are feeding them, you know? And so when people stop feeding them, they die out. And that's what this food stamp and welfare situation is about. Y'all need to be more independent on yourselves and y'all family unit instead of this government like y'all are. We should not be dependent on the government like this. Like y'all like, oh, he only paid 50. That 50-50 looking good right now, ain't it? That 50-50 is looking mighty swell.
A lot of things that trigger people in this nation. There are a lot of subject matter that trigger people in this nation. And blood and ballots is going to be one of them. The blood will not be on the hands of politicians or Trump or Elon Musk. The blood will be on the people's hand. And that's why I associated the scripture, 1 Timothy 5:22, with that particular piece. And you can see the people's hand coming from down high. The American people, they think that they sit high and look low, but you see blood on their hands, on their palms, on their fingers. They are responsible for their own selection of power. And so 1 Timothy 5:22, it says, lay hands suddenly on no man. Suddenly mean quick, abrupt, fast. Lay hands suddenly on no man. Neither be partakers of other men's sins. In essence, what the scripture is saying is that, see, the problem with American people is that whomsoever is the loudest and the most popular, that's what they put their energy behind. That's what they cast their ballots for. That's what they wave their hands for. I'm in favor of him. You see how he cut him down last night's debate? I'm in favor of her. You see how she shut that shit down in the name of feminism? So abrupt, so quick to get behind people and support them. Lay hands suddenly on no man. Neither be partake of other men's sins. And so the latter part of that scripture consists of, when you elect people, whether that be a pastor, a political figure, chairman of an organization, whomsoever is loud and popular, when you select them, when you choose them, when you lay your hands in the situation where you elect them, in essence, you are going to be participating in their sin, even if it's genocide. The American people are a problem. And you look at the protests, man, those protests was dark, melanated people out there for many years. They began to accumulate this bronze, this brown tone. Now you got a lot of pale faces out there. And they're not just men. They are women. They are youth. Because the American people have a tendency to sit on their front porch and watch disaster take place in the streets before them. That's not my issue. My son don't look like him. I'm not getting involved in that protest. Or I don't worship like them. I don't even worship with them. I'm not getting involved in that. It's like a bully. You never seen a bully stand in the middle of playground and challenge everybody at the same damn time. You don't see that. What you do see is the bully will go over here to the swing set and bully that child off the swing set. And who's watching? Who's looking? Child over there on the slide. The two over there on the seesaw. Another one over there on the monkey bars. They play at bay and watch this child get bullied off the swing on a Wednesday morning. But then Friday rolls around. The bully wants the slide. He makes his way over to the slide and bully that child off that slide. And so now you got the one on the swing like, he took the swing. It's no dealing. I don't want no dealings with that. The one on the monkey bars continue to not care about what's going on over there. The two on the seesaw, same response. The American people are good at watching other folk go through things, but okay, you're not a part of this class. You're not a part of that class. But I promise your ass, in America, you will be visited. Black Lives Matter didn't matter to a lot of people. Those first responders who didn't want to get vaccinated didn't matter to a lot of people. Those teachers that were out in the streets protesting didn't matter to a lot of people. Those women that showed up for Roe v. versus Wade didn't matter to a lot of people. All y'all gonna get y'all issues. Group after group, crowd after crowd, class after class, you all getting it. Because you'll never be bullied at the same time. He challenges classes. He challenges groups. And y'all stand by. It's too late. The machine is in motion. And shit y'all is over. Welcome to the United States of Communism.
They rob you blind and you thank them for it. That's a tragedy. That's a scam. That's why I'm saying this right now. Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. For decades, your government and oligarchs won't ship your job to China. Not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap laborers. And in the process, they hollowed out your middle class, crushed your working class, and taught you to be proud while they sold your future for profit. And yes, China made money, but we used it to build roads, lift millions out of poverty, fund healthcare, raise living standard. We reinvested in our people. My family also benefited from it. What did your oligarchs do? They bought yachts, private jets, mansions with golf course driveways. They manipulate the market, dodged tax, and poured billions into endless wars. And you get stagnated wages, crippling healthcare costs, cheap dopamine, debt, and flagged wave poverty made in China while they pick your pocket. For 40 years, both China and the United States benefit from the trade, the manufacturing, but only one of us use that wealth to build. This isn't China's fault. This is yours. You let this happen. You let the oligarchs feed you lies while they made you fat, poor, and addicted. Now they blame China for mess they made. I don't think so. I don't think you need another tariff. You need to wake up. You need to take your country back. I think you need a revolution.
We did what we came here to do, and so much more.
There is no such thing as lifetime freedoms.